Hi everyone, I am sitting here with Milton Justice, award-winning director from New York and also artistic director at Stella Adler Academy in Los Angeles. You are here for a 4-day seminar, acting seminar. What is your experience being here in Stockholm so far?
Oh, well, God, Stockholm. First, I haven't been here before. It's sort of always been on my bucket list, and so being here, it's more extraordinary than I even dreamed. I mean, it's the most beautiful city I've ever seen. I mean, it's just, and everybody, I was talking to Jean about it, everybody dresses well, and they look good, and I keep thinking, do they clean the streets and the sides of the building every night? So that's really, so being here is really fun. And then working with the actors here is really interesting. I think it's good for me because although I've worked with a lot of actors internationally, to have a group of people who have a kind of shared sensibility is really, really interesting, because it's like there is this shared kind of national problem.
Okay.
You know, well, I mean, actors come to study because they have a problem. You know, I mean, no actor comes to study just because
Everything's great.
Yeah, it's great. I'm going someplace to, you know, be complimented. And so it's just very interesting to watch how similar actors are everywhere, and then how different they are specifically based on where they come from.
Can you give an example?
Well, it's so interesting because, and this may be consistent, it's been a long time since I've thought about this, but I was watching Jean's class of younger kids.
Yeah, Sean is the one, a former student that actually brought you here, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
yes. And so I was watching his class, and the kids were young and they'd do anything. I mean, he'd say, try this, and they'd try it, and try this, and they'd try it. And then I said, but the grown-ups are so careful.
Do you think that is a Swedish,
I don't know
European
if it's
thing, or?
I find it consistent, but it feels like maybe there is a reserved quality that is unique, and that reserved quality, in my mind, gets in the way of acting. It's like I don't want to show you too much.
Okay.
You know,
It's
I'm
a
nervous.
holding back, yeah.
Yes, I'm nervous showing too much.
Okay.
And so it's interesting, and also I'm used to actors being nervous because of how much it takes to be an actor in terms of opening yourself up. And so, you know, so that problem is a consistent problem.
So what are you looking for in
Well,
an actor?
They asked me this question. I said, I'm looking for something fresh. I'm looking for a revelation. I'm looking for something I haven't seen before. I mean, it's very interesting. I guess the one thing about Swedish actors, we have so many actors in America. And I have so many go through my class. It's like American actors have a tendency, I think, to say, oh, I'm going to study from Milton Justice, I'll take a 6-week class, and then maybe I'll pick up something. And so it's like, and then I'll go study with somebody else, and then I'll go study with somebody else. Oh, maybe I'll hire him to coach me for an audition. And so there is this need for a quick fix that is consistent with a kind of American mentality of, I need to get it fast and succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it doesn't work that way. And so, I guess the difference here is the questions are really intelligent questions when they ask me questions from class. And so it makes me realize they have considered what the problem is and they haven't been able to solve it, which is a very different way of approaching acting as opposed to, so how do I get a job?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it feels like they're trying to figure out about acting. And
so because some of those we had Germans as well, and also from other countries in the class. And if you, I feel when I looked at them that they were all in the beginning of their careers.
yes.
Do you have some advice, like really concrete advice for them, how to, if you are beginning of your career, what would you advise them to do?
Well, don't expect anything. I mean, it's like, this is really hard. I mean, as ludicrous as me using sports analogies, it's like, if you wanted to play basketball, you would go out and dribble every single day. You wouldn't just play games. And there's a mentality of actors that says, well, if you'll give me an audition, I'll show you what I can do. And it's bogus. I mean, you have to really sit there and say, what do I do every single day? I think you have to ask at the end of the day, what did I do for my acting today? I mean, it's like actors go to the gym, but they don't work on acting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like they do all of these things that don't have to do with working on acting. And so I think that's one of the things you have to understand is that this is an enormous commitment, and once in a while, somebody, a fluke happens. I keep saying to them, you know, I talk about Brad Pitt. Well, the thing about Brad Pitt got discovered because he did a movie called Thelma and Louise. I have a friend, Grant Show, studied with me for years. Grant was offered the part, but he was on the TV series Melrose Place, and the producer wouldn't let him off to go do that part. Now, would Grant have become, you know, who knows? Brad Pitt? No doubt. And would Brad Pitt have always at some point become Brad Pitt? Yes. But I mean, it's like, you know, things like that don't happen. It's the people who work are the people who basically are slow and steady wins the race. It's like you keep doing it, you keep doing it. I had a girl in my class in New York who won a Tony Award. And so we were laughing about it. And so she won it for the Broadway musical Hamilton. And so, but her first show was a musical that was a phenomenal flop. And I was laughing with her, and I said, I think you're probably like me. Here, suddenly, there you are, a young actress on Broadway, and you think, boy, this is my career. And I said, and then it closes, and I said, that's what happened to me. I was producing a play on Broadway written by Tennessee Williams. I was 30 years old, and I thought to myself, whoa, look at the career I'm going to have. And the play closed in 4 days. So it's like, that's what you have to get used to. You know, it's like you pick it up, you pick yourself up and go on, time after time after time. To me, the fact that actors can survive is amazing, because it is a life of rejection.
Do you have something that they absolutely not should do?
You know, I've written a whole book about it. I mean, I
What's the name of the book?
Yeah, it's called, it's called I Don't Need an Acting Class. And a friend of mine said, why are you calling it that? And he said, and I said, I don't know, because people think I don't need an acting class. And perhaps they'll get the irony of it. But I think in my book, I talk about the biggest mistake actors make.
What's that?
And the biggest mistake actors make when they're working on material, and I even say in the book, I'm absolutely convinced it was in the Ten Commandments, and Moses just dropped it on his way down
Probably.
the mountain. It just dropped it, fell off the tablet. And it basically was, do not read the script and decide in advance how you're going to play it. And it's impossible. People read the script and they say, oh, I know how I'll play that. Oh, I know how I'll play that. Oh, I know how I'll play that. And they say, well, let me get off book. And then I can do it. So it's a delusional idea about what acting is. You know, acting is not memorizing the lines and saying them intelligently.
So acting is?
Oh, God, who knows? I don't know. I mean, listen, I've been teaching for 35 years. It took me 20 years to write my book, and I'm still trying to figure that out. In fact, I consider that that's the journey. I'm sitting now with 16 people in Sweden, and we're all trying to figure out the same thing. What the hell is this thing called acting? And so we tried this, and we tried that, and it's different for this person, and it's different for that person. And so, I mean, that's it. I mean, Jean and I are friends. We like each other personally, but one of the reasons we're friends is because what we share is this passion to try to understand what this is. And so we keep coming back to each other. We've known each other for years. I haven't seen him in years, and all of a sudden, here I am in Sweden because he suggested to you that you bring me here. So it's
really good suggestion.
But I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm already feeling like, oh my God, what am I going to do on Tuesday when I don't see him every day? Because this is what we talk about. I teach a class, and I'll talk about what he got out of my class, what he thinks I need to do, and what's missing. And it's not because
it's a constant conversation.
It's a constant conversation, and it's not. I mean, it's the old thing where the student becomes the teacher, but what I really think is the student becomes the collaborator.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that was my relationship with Stella Adler.
So what would you say is, you said also in the class that there will be no auditions, or every audition will be online. It's about self-tape. What is a good self-tape to you?
Well, here's the thing about a self-tape. It's a close-up. And it's a close-up when the other person is talking. And most actors, you watch them and they're listening for their cue. So it's to me as I am watching somebody completely involved in the circumstance of whatever the scene is. They're there. I believe they are living in that circumstance, and they're responding to their partner, and I'm watching them. Somebody said that in my class that I used a term they'd never heard before, which was active listening. And they said, I haven't heard anybody use that before. And I said, well, I don't know. Maybe they didn't have the problem. But I said, I keep looking. I said, look in life. You and I are talking, you're listening. There's certain, I can tell by the way you're looking at me that you're listening and that you're not thinking, God, he's full. Anyway, but I mean, it's active. And so that's something. And to me, I can tell it right away. I can tell that somebody is waiting for cues. I can tell that they're not involved in the scene because they're trying to figure out how do I perform the line of dialogue that I have. And so they're not there. And so that, that's part of it. I think that's part of what we're trying to do in class, and all of it is figure out how do I do this? How do I involve myself in these moments that are what acting is about.
So one last question for you. It's about ja, jag glömde bort vad jag skulle säga nu, så jag säger det igen snart. Um, so, one last question for you, Milton. What do you think about the future of acting, of actors? With AI, with the strike in America and everything?
Well, you know, I understand the concern about AI, but I don't train actors who have to worry about that problem. You know, I think, why are we having this discussion? Nobody's going to take you, and you know, I mean, it's like, and I still work with people who are, air quotes, stars, but they're not going to take them either. You know.
So don't worry.
You know, so anyway, so there's that. Future of acting. I think the good news is there is more work now than there ever has been. I mean, with all of the outlets and all of the international films. I mean, everybody in Sweden, when I looked at them in class and I said, do you all know what a huge hit Young Royals is in America? And they were like, really? And I said, no, it's huge. It's a huge hit. We're all desperate to find out what's going to happen in the next season. In fact, I thought maybe it was already on the air here. It's the only reason I took, you know, coming here. So that maybe I'll get a head start on Young Royals. But, I mean, it's everything. Where there is so much work. So I think that's the good news. I think the other good news is, and it is something I absolutely believe, if you are a good actor, you will work. And that's what I was saying to them in class earlier today. I said, you don't really have that much competition, as long as you're the best. And I'm telling you, it's like playing basketball. It's like playing tennis. You know, I'm obsessed with tennis. I just think it's phenomenal. I love tennis matches. And I watch these people. And I watch them work. And I watch them work day after day after day. And even the people that are not ranked in the top whatever, they play.
Yeah. So seeing acting as an athlete, see their sport, is the thing, actually.
Well, it is. I mean, here's the thing. It's so interesting. There's a movie that just came out about Leonard Bernstein.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to live for many years in the same building Leonard Bernstein lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was going to be playing Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue with the New York Philharmonic. And so and he had a rehearsal room on the top floor of this particular building, and my apartment was on the top floor. And so I thought, oh, this is so cool. I'm going to go listen to Leonard Bernstein rehearse. He was playing scales.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of, and I'm sort of went out expecting to hear and what I heard was and so, and I thought, that's it. Leonard Bernstein plays scales. I'm friends with Gustavo Dudamel, who's the conductor of the Los Angeles Philharmonic and soon to be the conductor of the New York Philharmonic. And I did a project with Gustavo, A Midsummer Night's Dream. And a former student of mine, Bryce Dallas Howard, was doing the narration. And so I went over to Gustavo's house with Bryce, and we worked on it. And so it was him going do 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 do. It was like we're humming here. Mm-hmm. And he's doing this, and she's doing the dialogue, and I'm working with her on the dialogue, and then we're working on this. It's everything are steps.
So I think that sounds like the last famous last words. There are no quick fixes. You gotta do the work.
Yeah, yeah. I'm afraid so. I hate it that it's true. I wish there were a quick fix.
Yeah.
I wish I knew what the secret of acting was.
Yeah. We will find out.
Okay.
Probably someday.
Maybe my last words.
Maybe.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Of
for
course.
coming.